Welcome, amazing agents from across the country. Today is Thursday, September 27th, 2018, and this is Mastermind call number 196, going on 200. We're nearly there. We're actually all three, hopefully y'all can hear us good. We're all three in the same room today. We are finishing up our partners meeting in Cocoa, Florida, not Cocoa Beach.
Learn. I'm
teachable. We have 4 people in the queue already, guys. Great attendance. Just a little bit of a reminder, we're really trying to respect your time and keep these calls right at an hour. So if you're going to get in the queue, do it sooner rather than later. And about 45 minutes after the hour, we'll probably go ahead and cut it off. We hate to leave people, questions or calls unanswered. But we got a great attendance. Tim, anything you want to share with the group?
No, we've had a great partners gathering, as we always do. We've made great accomplishments, as we always do. We're doing some stuff that's going to make the end of this year extremely exciting for everybody. We talked a little bit last week, I think, a little bit about the fact that we're working on our divorce offering, and we also are taking a look at another possibility as well, and we expect to have some interesting news coming up the first of next month.
Excellent. Chad, what would you like to share with the group this week?
Nothing today. Let's roll.
All right. We got 4 in the queue. Plenty of room for more. Just hit *6 and then hit 1. First up is phone number ending in 9234. You're up first.
Hey, this is Chad Campbell. How you doing?
Hey, Chad. Great.
So I get a question. Some of the properties that I've come up with is they're either way out of town, like a 2-hour drive out of town, or the people are, out of the state, which of course is probably better. But how would you deal with meeting those people? Like, I don't really think I want to drive 2 hours to meet on a property. I would rather have a little more. Work something a little more out before I go that far out of the territory, or would you just skip it? I would have to spend a lot of time, trying to develop a network there, which I could probably do, but I'm not sure if it's worth the time.
So the subject property is 2 hours away on the one scenario?
Yeah, like this one, it was, and I had a couple that showed up like that. I actually know the area. I used to own a property out there, but it's like a 2.5 hour drive into the middle of nowhere, one way, kind of a rural area. For some reason, they're filing the property taxes here, and not property taxes. They're filing the probate here, and I don't see anything owned unless it's by a trust or something potentially here.
Right. Well, what I would say on that one, if you're not willing to reach out there, find a referral partner that you can trust, somebody that understands the service you're offering and is willing to kind of raise the bar and live up to that. And I would just refer it to them at a 25% standard referral. The other part of your question, as far as out-of-town sellers, that can actually be a huge benefit. And Jim did, 16 out of 18 of your deals were out-of-state sellers, and he didn't even meet with them. So it can actually be easier because they need your help more than anyone does. So what I try to do is gauge their level of tech savviness. I still go for the appointment as quickly as possible. And I kind of keep 3 levels of virtual appointments. So if they're tech savvy and have a laptop and they can get to it at that time, I'll set up a join.me or a GoToMeeting and screen share anything that we're looking at in the house, with the party that can make it. We'll just share that with everybody involved. If they're not that tech savvy or don't have access, my next step down would be send a PDF package of what I'm taking on the appointment right before I leave. Email that to everybody and then do a conference call. If they're really not tech savvy, then sometimes you can drop a snail mail package and just time your appointment so the people will have it, and then you can do a conference call. I'm pretty sure in 2018 everybody can make a phone call. It's just getting them on the same page. You sometimes have to, try different things. But That's usually how I handle it. I learned not to go on appointments when all the decision makers weren't part of the conversation, because I've shot myself in the foot almost every time when I've done that.
Hey, Chad, one thing I missed.
I understand that, but so let's say I decided to take on the property, though. The property again is still so far out of the way. Would you go 2 hours out of your way to meet that person? Because I think they actually are living there.
No, on that meeting. I mean, based on the apprehension I heard from you, I suggested you just take a referral fee on that one. But maybe I misunderstood in the beginning. I thought there were two different scenarios here: one out-of-town seller and one.
Yeah, there are two, but like you were saying, like say with the people out of town, you were still. It sounds like having an upfront meeting with somebody here in town and putting everybody else on the. I guess.
Yeah, and the other scenario is if there is nobody in town, and I've had this happen. I've actually never seen a house that I couldn't get access to. Somebody has a key, a neighbor, a caretaker, a family member. So even if that's not a decision maker, as long as you can gain access to the house, what I'll try to do is go look at the house before I have that listing conversation in place of the listing appointment. So I'll have the initial conversation, gain access through whoever the key holder is, and then time my appointment until after I've been to the house.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, I think sort of. I just guess I'm thinking if it's the rural property that I'm going to refer out, how much work would you do? Just try to get the listing. Say you've got somebody that can help you, and then you would refer it out.
Well, let me ask you this: have you had that initial conversation? You know, there's a property and a motivation to sell.
I have not had the conversation because when I looked at it, I know where the area is, and it looks like the husband and the wife both live there in that house that's way out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. You've got to have the initial conversation, because you don't want to refer it to somebody if there's no intent to sell. Then it's not a good referral, and it's not going to reflect well on you. So.
Right.
Call them and get the facts, have the initial conversation, and if they do need help and they do want to sell the property, then you've got a referral.
Okay. Thank you.
What I was going to add, Chad, if the situation was reversed and that rural property were vacant, I would be more inclined to go list it, because it's probably not going to require you to go out there more than once. It's just a phone conversation. If they're not local, they're going to be easier to deal with, so you might expand your boundaries a bit. But if it is somebody local, then you're going to have to service it like a regular listing. That's really your call, how often you want to make a 2-hour drive. That's may not be the best use of your time.
Yeah, I was just thinking I didn't want to make a 2-hour drive if I don't pretty much have the deal. But if I've got the deal, I don't mind listing it and that kind of thing.
I have a quick question. Is that a frequent market that you're intending to work?
Probably not, but I got a feeling it's going to come up on a regular basis. I'm in North Texas. A lot of people, will own property out in, say, East Texas, which is a more rural area. And I do want to develop more people that can do that job. I just don't know good referrals at the moment for that area.
Yeah, I think that's really kind of the question I was going to ask. If it indeed is a market that you're going to look to service, not only just on this one, but in the future, approach it professionally and go, maybe even, run an ad or whatever, and vet a few realtors that are out there that you really want to work with, and they'll take you more seriously because you're actually taking the trouble to recruit them and respond to an ad. You'll get the low-hanging fruit. The best people will respond to that. If you run some kind of an ad, you can even do it on Craigslist if you want, and find a good person and put them on the spot to prove to you they're the right person to work with.
Yeah. And Chad, if you do, if it is something you're considering taking, if it's a slam dunk, don't be afraid. When I was a real estate coach, we used to teach, ask a qualifying question when you get them on the phone and set the appointment, don't be afraid to ask, when I come out to see you Tuesday at 4, if you're comfortable with what I have to say, are you planning on listing your property with me? Ask them. Find out if it's a fishing expedition or not. I certainly would qualify the appointment harder if it was 2 hours away than if it was closer, so you don't make a drive for nothing. Does that make sense?
Right. Okay.
All right. All right, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, before we go to the next caller, he's not in the room, so I forgot to acknowledge and call on my partner, Tom. Tom, anything you want to share with the group?
Hey, Jim, Tom. No, my usual, make sure everyone knows we're here to help. And if you need anything, just send us an email at support@alltheleads.com or give us a phone call. But, we're here and we expect to hear from you. That's it.
Awesome. Wonderful. And guys, you are actually following instructions. We've got 7 people in the queue, so thank you for signing in early. Next up is phone number ending in 9664. You're up next.
Hi, my name's Arthur, and I've been with you guys now for about 2 months, and I'm already starting to see some progress from it. I'm also your neighbor. I'm up in Volusia County, which is just north of Cocoa Beach. The reason I was calling in today is that I'm using an auto dialer to make phone calls to get to these to get to the list, and I was wondering if you guys had any suggestions for just introducing myself to the families or the personal representatives for these properties.
How about auto dialer? Do you mean a ringless voicemail system or a sales dialer?
Sales dialer, so it's live.
Okay. I guess I want to make sure I understand your question. I mean, had you, as far as how to open the conversation, or?
Yes. How would you open the conversation? Because it's, I think it's just maybe all of a sudden the phone will pick up and someone will be on the phone, and I don't know how to start that conversation with them.
Okay.
And I was wondering, how would y'all start that?
You're using a multi-line dialer, and you don't know who's answering.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. So, being general in the beginning is your best friend. A lot of people try to stare at the data and deduce everything and make up the story. You're much better off to just, and there's a couple scenarios here. One scenario is you're calling 4 numbers for the same personal representative, or maybe your dialer's overlapping. You might be calling, 3 numbers, 2 for one PR and 1 for the other. If that's the case, you need to really be careful. Not, if you know that if all the numbers are for one estate, then I would say, hey, I'm trying to reach Jane Doe, and reference who I'm talking to. If it was split across 2 PRs and I wasn't real sure which one it was, I would try to take the name out of it and say, oh, hey, I'm really glad I caught you. This is Chad. I sent you a letter last week. I just wanted to follow up and make sure you got it. And then
I'm just using a single. I'm not trying to do 3 or 4 calls at the same time. It's just a single, and someone will answer and say, who's this?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that shouldn't be a problem at all. You're always going to know you're trying to reach the PR, first name, last name. So in that case, I mean, some people make the mistake of saying, oh, Mary Jones? But I find it to be much more, it's much smoother if you say, oh, hi, I'm glad I caught you. I'm trying to reach Mary Jones. And 90% of the time, they'll say, this is Mary. And then you can jump into your call.
Okay.
And have you gone through the fast track program, the fast track training?
I have. I've gone through that. I was just, and I like the fact that you guys have a script. I know that, we're leaving a message for them just to try and pique their curiosity, not explain what I'm trying to do. It's just that, when you have their attention, I was just kind of like looking for maybe building a script I could use to help approach the fact that I'm calling. I'm a real estate investor. I actually want to buy the house, see if they're interested in selling it. So.
Yep. Have you been on any of our role play calls?
No, not yet.
Okay. So from the subscriber portal, jump into education and training, conference calls, access call archive. And the first Wednesday of every month, we do an hour-plus role play call. Now, you're going to hear a lot of realtors on the role play because that's the majority of our subscribers are realtors. However, we cross-train everybody the same. It's the idea is to differentiate yourself by providing multiple options. So it doesn't matter what your end game is, how you're going to monetize it. Each phone call is treated the same way. So look at, in step 3 of the fast track training, you'll see a document called the Probate Seller Interview Sheet, and that's kind of a framework for the conversation. And then listen to some of those role play calls. We have 34 hours of role play calls archived, I believe. So you can build your own language by looking at that framework and listening to how we do it. And then we also do have the script that you found that you can kind of work off of. But that's the best thing I can say to help you is, listen to those calls until you're comfortable and you've built your own language, and then go hit it.
Also, one other quick thing to add, if you have any, and this is not just to you because you sound like you got your act together pretty well, and great questions that you asked. But one of the things that we're seeing also a good bit on the Facebook Mastermind group is that people are asking to find role play partners online to do some testing and practicing with, and you may find, if you want, put something up there and ask if another agent would like to talk with you a little bit, and you guys can both play ring together and share information, and it helps you to develop your routine. And as you do it, you'll learn that over time, you and that partner will ask each other harder and harder questions, and you'll bring them back to the table, and that's another way to help do that too.
Okay.
Hey, Arthur, before we let you go, you mentioned you were starting to experience some progress. Do you have any particular wins that you want to share with us?
Well, yeah. I mean, I went from, first of all, I recommend that you have a sales caller or a sales dialer, because you only have so much time in a day, and to set a program up like that where you can get through 20 to 25 records in an hour and then speak with people, that's really helped me save time, because I still got to get in the car and go out and meet with them after doing research on it. But since Monday, I've set up 2 appointments, and I've got a third one that once I speak with them again tonight, I'm going to ask for that appointment. And I know that, from the sales training I have, I'll be able to get there, hopefully make a fair offer to them and get that. So, before I had all the leads, I was just trying to do this stuff myself. And you guys are just saving me countless hours. I mean, I couldn't even, I would probably have to hire somebody to do this, which I guess I did with all the leads. But this is just, it's showing great promise right now. And as soon as I get my first deal from it, I'm going to let you guys know, and I'll put it in the Facebook group.
Excellent. We'd love to hear that. Thank you so much. That's good to hear. Anything else we can help you with today?
No, but I'm just going to be a fly on the wall for the rest of the call. Appreciate it.
And remember, Arthur, next week, the 3rd at 2 p.m. Eastern is on this number. It's a Wednesday at 2 p.m. is the next role play call. So it's every Wednesday at 2 p.m. and this number.
Well, the other thing I was going to add is,
I'll be there.
Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. What'd you say, bud?
No, I'll be there. I'm going to be on the role play. So, but go ahead. What were you going to say?
Awesome. The only thing I was going to add is that, that's awesome that you're doing that, and awesome that you're being able to, and I'm overusing the word awesome. I just realized I say that a lot these days. You're doing a great job of finding a dialer that you were comfortable with and using that. The other thing that I just want to make everybody aware of, obviously, time is money, and your time is valuable as well. And we obviously provide a service that will do this for you and will allow you to have us make the calls for you, and then you're only talking to motivated sellers. So over time, you may find that that's a good use of your time and energy to let us do it for you, get the appointment set up for you to make those calls, to be talking to motivated sellers. And if you don't have time to do it, don't let that stop you. And if you don't want to do the calls yourself, don't let that stop you. Let us help you. Give us a call, drop a message to support, and we'll walk you through it, talk to you about it, and explain it to you.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Onward, Jimmy.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. Next up is phone number ending in 0300. You're up next.
Hi, guys. This is Diane out of Florida, and I'm new to the probate calls. I noticed that when I was going through the list that there's several personal representatives that are showing up for credit unions and for retirement groups, and I wondered what you did with those particular leads, if anything.
So you'll see several of those a year. It's definitely a minority of your leads. I always marketed to them. Like, I would go ahead and send the mail, and usually I would make the call and hit a phone tree and not really get anywhere. For me, it was $4.50 to maybe make a $12,000 to $15,000 commission. So I was willing to take that risk. I really haven't ever done one. But I would say try it. I mean, it's a marketing expense, and you never know. Typically what that is, there either wasn't somebody from the family, or the deceased didn't trust or didn't want to put their family in that position. So they made an arrangement with their personal banker or wealth manager and to administer the estate. So there's a chance that you'll get through to that person. I just personally haven't ever been able to.
Some of the addresses seem like they're local addresses. Would it be worth it to show up at the credit union and try to meet someone in particular, or is that going too far down the rabbit hole?
No, I think it's a great idea, and if you're willing to do it, you're going to learn. I mean, you'll learn more about why those are showing up that way. Being proactive like that is definitely going to show well for whoever you meet with. I mean, they're going to see that you're not the average realtor. You're going above and beyond your call before you even meet them, right?
Okay, excellent.
How many of them are on your current list? How many of them do you have like that?
On one list, I'm new, and I got the prior month's list while I was waiting for the current month's list, and there was 2 or 3 for the credit union, and then I'm seeing maybe 3 to 5 for some type of retirement group under different names.
Yeah, the retirement group might be financial advisors or wealth managers. Those are people you want to meet anyways. But anyways, I would encourage you to go visit all of them. And I'd love to hear your report. I'd like to hear what your experience was.
Okay, great. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. A lot of people in the queue. We may have to cut it off soon, so jump in now. Hit *6 and then hit 1. Next up is phone number ending in 7309. You're up next. Are you there? It looks like Uba. Phone number is 7309. All right, we can't hear you, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the next person.
Can you hear me? How about now? Hello?
Now we can hear you. Yes, sir. You're good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had my Bluetooth on and must have been messing up. Yeah,
no problem.
So I actually just started on with all the leads last week. The information has been tremendous. I'm actually an attorney that suspended my practice a year ago to launch my real estate business. So just from everything I've been listening to the videos and of the masterminds and the role-playing calls, and it's been a tremendous help. So I've got a couple of questions really quickly. The first one is, and you kind of already touched on it, is I'm currently in the process of getting my real estate license, but I've been primarily doing investing. And so I know that you guys focus on cross-training everybody, but like you said, the majority of your folks are realtors on here. So I was wondering if there are any specific points that you delineate between investors and realtors when prospecting potential leads and just trying to give our unique sales proposition. So that'd be the first thing. And then the second question is, as an attorney here, and particularly in the probate area, I can't tell you what a great benefit just the leads has been. I'm in Dallas, and just the way you guys have packaged the information, it's literally the same thing I was doing, except probably 50 times faster. Inconvenient.
Yeah.
So my second question with regards to an attorney, now that I've been understanding the business more, what have you seen with regards to working with other attorneys? What have you seen has been the greatest need, and that would be the greatest value add that I could add to other attorneys as I'm growing my business from investing into a more holistic real estate business?
So the answer to both questions is really the same answer, I think. So we, as I said before, we cross-train everybody, and all of the partners in this business are real estate investors, and half of us are also licensed realtors. The approach that I've taken on every house I've ever bought, and I think, Jim, you're just the same, is I show my cards. So I actually will run the scenarios side by side and show them the net, and they'll pretty easily self-select into, what works for them. So I try not to pick up the phone with an outcome in mind. I think that, giving them options and you can suggest the one you think is the best fit for them, but I try to never control how I'm going to monetize it. I try to focus on the people and providing value in any way I can, and it always seems to monetize itself. And sometimes that's a $30,000 wholesale, and sometimes it's a $1,200 commission. So I would say that just focus on people and situation, and you'll always have money coming from all different directions in this. And it's,
you there?
I rolled it into one answer. And what was the second part of your question? Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So thank you. No, that was a really good first answer. The second part was, seeing as I'm an attorney, I'm trying to, construct the best way to add value to other attorneys and really use that part of my network now that I have a better grasp of the business. So what has been your experience would be the best benefit to the attorneys that you've worked with, both in probate and then also in family law and things like that?
Thanks for reminding me. So it's kind of the same value points that you're going to share with the personal representatives, the things that you're going to do for them. The attorneys are also going to see immense value in that. And what we find is, from being a practicing attorney, there's redundancy in the business, right? So these people are specialized in this, but every family has to start at the same point. They don't know where to start. So the value that you bring to the table is, 3/4 of the work that needs to be done on an estate is the responsibility of the personal rep. What we find early in the process is they think the attorney is going to do more than they actually are. So you can paint the picture of your service exists to complement theirs and basically bridge the gap between the legal responsibilities that they have on their plate, and your service covers everything else that the family has on their plate, and you can take as much of that away from the attorney and the family as possible. So focus on, and again, it's about differentiating yourself. So show them that you can take redundancy out of the business, that you have their client's best interest in mind, and that your business model is complementary to theirs.
Yeah, that's good.
Jim, you have one to add?
Yeah, do you practice family law? What kind of law do you practice?
No, I do not practice family law. So I've currently suspended my practice when I launched my real estate business, but previously I just did a civil litigation, some business. If I would get back into the game, I'm actually trying to do entity formation and LLCs and things that are complementary to both realtors and investors.
Okay, so interestingly enough, one of the things that I was just thinking about, the kind of mailers and things you could put out. I mean, I would definitely highlight the fact when you're pursuing opportunities in this, highlight the fact that you're an attorney, so you know the ins and outs of the law, and you can certainly help them and guide them, and you can complement, like Chad said. Surely, I know you probably have a great attorney. Having a realtor who understands what the attorney is also going through can do nothing but be a high level of benefit. And I would definitely highlight the fact that you are in fact a licensed attorney in their state, and that's a tremendous benefit for you to be making noise about as you try to pursue these people.
Okay. My initial fears was I felt that if I did highlight the fact that I was an attorney, they might feel that I was trying to poach their current counsel's business.
Right. That's why you want. Chad said it the correct way. That's why you want to make the point of complimenting the attorney. And the value of what you do is what that attorney is going to have to go through. So as an agent, you know better than anybody else how to work with that attorney because you are one.
Definitely.
So your script or copy there, whether it's in a letter or in person, is, as a former practicing attorney, I understand the challenges, yada, yada, yada. So it's a way to get the social proof of having a law degree, but not being a threat to their business. So you can open your letters like that, open your conversations like that, and show them, not only am I a realtor that's gone above and beyond. I used to be an attorney. I understand what you do, and I won't be a thorn in your side.
Gotcha. And
you can even personalize it, because we provide you, in the cases where the attorney's name is listed, you can personalize the conversation. And if you know that their attorney is Sherry Smith, you can say, I'm aware that you're working with Sherry Smith. I'm sure she's a great family law attorney and going to do a great job for you. And again, because I'm an attorney and have a law degree, I know exactly what she's going to have to go through to help you get this done. And I'm sure I can work directly with her to help make that better. And just personalize the whole thing. Now you've not only laid yours out there, but you've also co-opted the fact that you're part of the fraternity, and you're part of the fraternity of attorneys, and so it's just going to make it all the better for them. And that's a great advantage for you, a competitive marketing advantage.
You could pretty easily do that in a mail merge also.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. You could add that to your letter. If all of your attorneys are listed, you might add in your letter, I see that you're working with, Sherry Smith and an excellent attorney in our marketplace. Be glad to work with her. That way, it's real obvious you're not doing anything but working with her.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, thanks so much.
You got a great advantage. You need to use that advantage to your benefit, because you've got something that most people that you're competing with aren't going to have.
Awesome. Indeed.
Okay.
Thank you so much for all the help.
Thank you so much. We got a ton of people in the queue. I think we're going to...
Probably cut it off.
Probably cut it off. So last call if you want to get in the queue for today. Next up is phone number ending in 0624. You're up next.
Hi, my name is Mandar. Can you guys hear me?
Hey, Mandar. Yes, sir.
Hey. It's good to see two agents or associates from North Texas in the call that previously asked questions. I'm also from North Texas. And I have three questions. The first question is actually to you and Chad. Jim, so my first mail out went last week, and I received it on Friday, a copy. Saturday afternoon, while I was having lunch with some friends, I got a call, and I knew it was a probate lead, and the woman insisted on talking to my broker. And I told her that I work with Colleen, and I'm on her team, and I sent a letter. You can ask me if you have questions, but she insisted. She wanted to talk to my broker, and then eventually, maybe an hour or two later, I told Colleen that she wants you to call her. There are two outcomes. Either she is extremely upset and she wants to vent or yell at you, or the other is she wants to list with you, because my broker is a $1 million producer in her market.
Right.
So what happened is my broker did get a call, and the personal representative was extremely upset and so disturbed that she was almost going to blast her off on Facebook and our brokerage, but instead she decided to talk to her. And then my broker advised, on looking at the letters, that not to send those letters anymore. So I did get a good turnout from the letters, but one person was very upset. So my question about this situation is, since I will not be sending any personal, any handwritten letters to these people, do you have agents that are very successful in this business that just make calls instead of sending letters and still get turnaround from people?
Yeah, first of all, you got to go with your broker. She's the boss. I feel like she's kind of dealing to the exception. That what you had there, you could send out 100,000 letters and it'll probably never happen again. So you might want to sit down with her and reason with her that it was just very unusual that somebody would be and let them try it again. We do have people that are successful just making the calls. It's the 1-2 combination, though, is definitely more successful. Chad, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, what I wanted to ask, when you and your broker had that conversation, did she say you shouldn't send that letter or any direct mail?
So she said, the spouse called her, the personal representative called her, an ambulance chaser. She said, send something that is general, like, hey, are you considering of selling a house, and not cater to their personal situation.
Okay. I'm glad I asked. So there is a letter in our mailbox motivator. You'll find a letter called the House Value Letter, and that's a letter that I wrote for Colorado, where it's a really, really competitive market, and a lot of people are calling off of obituaries. So it's more of a general farming approach, but it also it outlines the same options that we would outline in a more direct probate-specific letter. So take a look at that letter and bounce it off your broker, and see what she thinks about that. That would be a place to start, or just send general farming direct mail to the same address. Like it's just a hyper-targeted farming campaign. I would definitely not stop doing direct mail because it's proven. So I would try to find a compromise with your broker so you can get back to mailing the list. As Jim said, we have had a lot of people who are successful just on the phones. We've had people who are successful just with mail, but what we find to be the best combination and create the most consistency and flow of business is to use them in tandem. But I would sit down with your broker, and the other thing I would suggest is print off a couple of our sample brochures. You can also find those in the same area, and ask her what her feelings are on that, like a more polished professional piece. And maybe she'll come around and say, you know what, you can send that because it has more information. It is a more direct approach. But if you get hung up and she's like nothing specific to reveal that someone passed away, just send farming mail to them.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chad. That helps. My second question is about I watched the video on Vulcan 7 again about one of the agents in Florida that pulled the numbers from almost a year ago, and those leads were converting. So what do you recommend about old lists like 6 to 12 months ago where I can pull from alltheleads.com and start calling them, and how much of your customer base is getting success with that?
I think I would say just about, and to my knowledge, everybody who has diligently prospected old lists has found business. I don't know of any exceptions. And even in our call center, we've been able to set appointments on the list as old as 2 years old. I've had them as far as like 24, 25 months. The one thing I'll say is you need to have the right mindset when you get on the phone, and you need to realize a lot will be sold, a lot will be transferred to family members, and don't let that discourage you, because you're looking for the 2%. So you're going to have a 98% failure rate. You just need to understand that when you're getting on the phone, and don't get discouraged. But the people who you do make contact with that haven't done anything typically are going to become list me's. Like, they are ready because they've been procrastinating for X number of months. So they're oftentimes the ones that are in most need of help and the easiest to work with. So just focus on that, not the ones that, these are all sold. And because I've seen some people wash out because, they have a list that's 2 or 3 months old, they make 75 phone calls and they're all sold. But they left 75 more on the table, and that's where, that they were 3 feet from gold.
Right. Yeah.
Mandar, reach out to me. I can set you up with those historical leads if we have them, and we do have them in most counties.
Yeah, and my last question is, before I ask that question, is I wanted to tell you that your program is amazing. The conversion is not as fast in any program unlike this. The ISA callers set up 3 appointments for me. I called one lead yesterday, and she was so nice and warm on the phone. It's the same. It's similar lead, deceased spouse's wife, and I followed the same type of scripts that you have trained your agents in Probate Mastery, Chad. And I got her email address. I confirmed her attorney information, and have a follow-up with her in October. So it's just been barely less than 2 weeks, and I'm seeing progress. And having said that, I also saw on Vulcan 7 that you guys are probably thinking of bringing in divorce in the upcoming months. Is that going to happen? And if yes, will there be a strategy to market to divorce leads?
Yeah, the whole point of it not being there now is exactly that. We're not just a lead company and we don't just sell leads. Obviously, you've already highlighted several of the services that we offer. So part of our rationale in terms of making sure that we're ready to, there are a lot of places you can go buy leads and people will sell you leads that are, highlighted as being whatever the category is. We make sure that when we're ready to roll something out, not only are we ready with the infrastructure and setup to go do it, we've been doing a lot of custom software development to make sure that your portal is ready to support multiple lead types now, and also that we're ready internally and that our source of supply and our lead gathering capability and all of our internal systems are ready to support it. So we're looking at that and a couple of other lead sources as well. And yes, the answer is that when we roll it out, it'll be ready for you to use and deploy just like it is for probate.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mandar, thank you as well.
Mandar, I have to compliment you. I know you're a brand new agent, but I think 3 weeks in a row you participated in the Mastermind calls, and we really wish more people would. So although we may have to have a 2-hour call if that happens, but that would be a good thing. Thank you for showing up every week, and thank you for participating. We appreciate it. All right, next up is phone number ending in 0624. You're up next. Or is that you,
okay.
Mandar? No, that's you. Go ahead.
That's me. This is Kay Sinek. I'm in Daytona Beach. New to all the leads. Hi. I've been through Fast Track, been through the Mastery, fantastic. And Chad, I'm the 6-foot-tall redhead unicorn. We were emailing.
Nice to meet you.
So anyway, yes. So here's the thing. I've been having some success, and I am getting a listing, finalizing the paperwork, and have had several calls. So I'm very happy about that. And I wanted to ask about this kind of along the same flavor. I got a call. I was so happy. He goes, "Did you send me the letter?" Yes. What ensued was a barrage of name-calling, curse words. It was the most creative and prolific insulter I've ever heard in my life. I mean, I was impressed with his intensity, but I was shocked. And the interesting thing, and I'm standing on a golf course when this happened, it was, "My wife just died, how dare you," things that he wanted me to do to myself and wanted me to die. But then he paused. He definitely, it wasn't a dump and then hang up. He paused because he wanted me to speak. Now, I was shaking. It's pretty tough to ruffle my feathers, but I was literally shook up. I said, "Sir, I apologize. I'm so sorry you were offended. I send those to help people in this situation. Did I do the right thing?" And because he just went off on me again. And how often are we going to run into that?
You're not going to run into it very often. So in the interest of time, we can't really role play it out fully here, but if you go into the Facebook group and in the search bar, type in lightning strike, you'll find in several role play calls, I've role played this with both investors and realtors, it's important that you don't take it personal and you understand that person's hurt and their ego is protecting them, right? So understand you're talking to their ego, and they don't mean what they say. They don't know you, and they have no reason to hate you or call you those things. What you should have, what I would suggest that you do, based on your personality, I think what you should have, when he paused, he was pausing because that's your point where you can turn that into a real conversation. And I understand you were shook up because you did take it personal this time. But next time, just like you told us in the beginning, like, "Man, that was the best ass chewing I've ever taken," and just say something really abrupt like that. It's going to shock him, and he's going to be like, "What? And then humor can go a long ways in that situation. So the same way you presented it to us is what that would have been my script back to him. Like, "That is the most supreme ass chewing I've ever taken, sir. My hat is off to you." By the way, would you like to know that? I mean, did you understand the good intent and why I sent that? I wasn't looking for the reaction I got, but you get the trophy. And just things like that, like throw humor at them and start to disarm them and bring it down to a real conversation. And I'd say it's 50-50. 50% will hang up on you and 50% will engage with you. but it's way better than hanging up and then letting that soak in and feeling bad about yourself and what you're doing. So, keep your head up. Remember, you're doing the right things for the right reasons. There's a hell of a lot of ways to make money in real estate. You didn't choose the easiest one. You chose one that was, closely matched to your values, right? Is that why you're here?
Right, correct.
Because you want to make a difference and help people?
Absolutely.
Just remember that, and don't let that sink in. You didn't do anything wrong, and this is my personal opinion. I won't apologize for doing the right thing ever. So you said you apologized to him, and that's the only thing I would change. Don't be sorry for what you're doing. You're doing the right thing.
I said I apologize that you felt hurt by my letter. I'm sorry you felt that, but shouldn't even apologize at all, correct?
That's my opinion.
Mhm. What would
the only other thing I was going to mention is that in your letter, I'm assuming you highlighted the value that you bring to the game, and one of the things that we have always stressed in terms of looking at this is that if you're always coming at this from the standpoint of I'm not just there. Obviously, your objective is to get a listing, make a sale, or buy the property, or whatever your objective is. But you are not just there to do that. You're literally helping them, offering them a service. And I think it's important to remember that if you're leading with value, keeping them in the right place, you're never going to be doing the wrong thing. And if you're convinced, just like Chad said, that you're doing a good thing, you'll be fine with that. And it's an opportunity to say that then is, sir, also, if you looked at my letter, I'm not just out trying to, steal your house or anything else. I put together a team of people that help folks like you that potentially are dealing with things like this and dealing with what's obviously an emotional bad time for you. And I'm really sorry, and that you got upset. But I'm here to help, not to rip you off. So in the interest of time, we're going to let this go. I encourage you to come back again and let's have some more conversation about this. You rock. You got a great attitude.
And Janice, you ask how often it'll happen. Our experience is the entire time you're doing this, there's a good chance it'll never happen again. We've heard that from agents. Like, we had a guy a couple of years ago, his first call, he was going to quit because it happened to him. 2 years later, it's never happened to him again, and he's doing very well. So just roll with it. It sounds like you got a great attitude.
Yeah, that's why I call it the lightning strike.
I'm glad I just got this out of the way. So, okay, we're ready to keep going.
I told you to search for a lightning strike. The reason we call it that is it's the thing that we're most afraid of, but we rarely see anyone ever get hit. But,
all right. Well, we got a ton of people in the queue. I am going to cut it off. Next up is phone number ending in 4983. You're up next.
Hi, I'm Janice. Couple of questions. Firstly, which auto dialer do you recommend? I've never used one of those.
So we actually have an interface with Vulcan 7, and that's one of the most respected dialers in the industry. It's a single line dialer. If you want to go with a multi-line option and really burn through some numbers, Mojo Cells is really, kind of the industry leader there. But for most, I'll say this, if you haven't been working on a dialer for years, a single line dialer is probably all you want. To go from never using one to jumping on a 3-line dialer, to me was, there's a bit of a learning curve.
Okay, and I've never used a dialer, actually.
If you do use, one of the big benefits to using Vulcan is you can give us your subscriber ID, and we'll actually push your leads into Vulcan. And what most people will do is prospect from Vulcan, but keep notes in our CRM. So it's not a two-way, it's not a push-pull, but you can use Vulcan as a dialer for efficiency and then take notes in the My Probate Lead CRM.
Okay, great. And are there any plans to expand the ISA in a county? In my county, for instance, there's not an ISA available. So are there any plans to have 2 of them?
Well, we only make calls for 1 subscriber per county because we felt that's the only fair way to do that. We don't want to call the same leads and say the same thing. So we can put you on a waiting list if you haven't done that already. So when that county becomes available, you'll kind of have the first right of refusal on it.
Okay.
Janice, I don't know if you're not, just to be safe, send an email to jim@alltheleads.com, and I'll check and see if you're on the wait list for Palm Beach. If you're not, I'll get you on there right away.
Palm Beach.
Great, thank you, Jim.
You're in Palm Beach County, correct?
I am, yes.
Yeah. All right, that's great. Does that help?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Next up is phone number ending in 9731. You're up next.
Hi, this is Rob. Can you guys hear me?
Hear you great, Rob.
Okay, great. So my question is, so I just sent out it was last week, sent out the first month of mailers and then made calls this week. And for those that, aren't giving me the abrupt, I'm not interested, but kind of the soft, not interested, do you recommend taking them off of the mailer for months 2 and 3, or would you keep it on and just send them something but not call? Kind of what would be your approach to leads that are kind of just softly saying, hey, I'm not interested?
Can you give me a real world example of what they've said to you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so yesterday I had a call, and they said, oh, we just plan on keeping the house, or someone in the family is keeping the house, or something like that, where we're not interested in selling it, but they still have the house within the family.
Okay. So the best thing to do there is find some way to provide value to keep the conversation rolling. What you're going to find I won't say most, a lot of families who plan on keeping real estate, they haven't thought through the financial aspects of it. So for example, there's usually multiple heirs in most estates. And one person, Cousin Joe, wants the house, but Cousin Joe hasn't thought, well, wait, I got to go apply for a mortgage, get approved, and then buy out the other 3 people? Well, hell, I can't keep it. My credit's a 340, right, or 350. So what you'll find, and what I would say, what's better than following up, in 2 months, I would address that right there and say, well, listen, a lot of people haven't considered everything because you're under so much stress. I mean, is there a plan in place for that? And there's any way I can help? But for example, you want to make sure that the title search is done so you're not getting a home with unknown encumbrances. And how does the family member plan to finance that, or do they? Are they paying cash, or do they need to arrange financing? And even if it's held free and clear and there's only one heir and they're inheriting the house, wouldn't it be nice if they knew their options for having a home equity line of credit so they could actually unlock the equity and live in the house? So you can give them their cake and let them eat it too, right? So get them over to a mortgage banker and help them set up a home equity line of credit, free up some liquidity, and then go sell them a rental property or introduce them to a financial advisor. So those are all just examples I'm pulling out of the air, but that's where that's where I want your mind to go. Is okay. Even if someone does keep the house, who do I know that can provide value to them? And that'll keep the conversation rolling. It'll show them that you have their best interest in mind, and that you're proactively offering value and solutions. And if they ever do decide that keeping the home, renting the home is not the right thing to do, who do you think the top real estate agent's going to be for them?
That'll be myself.
You are.
Yep.
Right.
Well, there you go. All right. Does that help?
Appreciate it. Yeah, that's the only question
Excellent.
I had. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We got 2 more in the queue, and we're coming up on the hour. Perfect timing. Next up is phone number ending in 6370. You're up next.
Hi, this is David Griffin in Charlottesville. Can you hear me?
Hey, David.
Hello. I wanted to ask you, I have some leads that go back all the way to January, and I haven't sent out any letters yet, but I'm getting ready to do that. Would I send out the initial letter to a lead that is that old, or would you recommend one of the other letters? Because I guess theoretically you're saying that these people get lots of letters, so it'll all be kind of get into the confusion. So should I just assume? So you see my question. Should I have an initial letter introducing myself, or should I just assume that I'll just come in with a secondary letter like I've already sent one?
I think if I had to pick one, I would pick the probate options letter. I would suggest that. It's not as specific as the 1, 2, 3 sequence. It works well for that purpose. So are you familiar with that one?
I'll look at it, yeah.
So probate options would be the one that I suggest.
Oh, that's the one that has the 4 bullet points of we can do this, 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 this?
Correct.
Okay, but that could be used as the initial letter too, depending on how you introduce yourself.
Sure. I mean, that's the one I used. I pretty much used that letter 3 times, no changes throughout all of my camp. Well, I mean, I tested everything, but that one produced consistently for me.
3 times, no changes. So the same introduction.
Yep.
Okay. And what's the nature of the 1, 2, 3 sequence? How does that look? What's
that one's a little more. Well, that one we used that one first in your market in South Florida, and it's a little more direct toward the investor side of the business, like the cash offer, because that's a hook. Almost everybody wants to discuss that. It's only a good fit for 10% of them, but almost 100% of people at least want to explore the option. So it's just it's an easy way to get the conversation started. That's why that letter leans so heavily in that direction. Some people are timid of using it for that reason because they're not an investor. But we teach everybody to partner with an investor. So even if you're not a buyer, you should have them. But that's kind of the ideology behind that sequence was lead with the thing that most people, almost everybody wants to talk about as the marketing hook.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
right,
chances are, if they were, I'll explain why I chose the options letter. I mean, if they were that motivated 12 months ago, that house is gone. So I think the options letter will work better for the procrastinators.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. 3 times. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more person in the queue. Last up this week is phone number ending in 9708. You're up last.
Hi, guys. Hey, thank you for taking my call. I have been going through, and I've been getting leads for a few months, and this final month I, set myself a deadline and was like, you know what, was pressing, putting some letters out or even gathering my stuff, and then I finally just started making phone calls. One thing I noticed, though, on a lot of the calls, I had like approximately 100 leads. It was 80 leads actually this last time. And I've made about 64 of them already. And one thing I'd like to mention on your CRM, there's no way to sort by date of death, because I've noticed is the trend that those who have died not so long ago are the ones that are most likely to have a listing available. There are I've come across some probates that have been like a decade old or earlier, and there are people who are trying to clear up, mineral rights or something to that effect, or liquid assets. What would you say is the percentage of, out of 100, how many do you think you possibly get a lead? Because right now I'm not feeling very successful. So, because I've gotten 0.
So, I think across the board, 2% conversion is probably fair for all agents. I mean, we have agents converting up to 50% of their leads. And we obviously have agents converting 0%, but 2% is reasonable. Like if you're diligently prospecting by mail and by phone over a 90-day period, you should expect 2 deals out of 100. Personally, I average 6% on my campaigns, and we have plenty of people who have blown me out of the water on my conversion. But I'd like you to go to, if you go to alltheleads.com, the public side of our website, and click on blog in the menu. Mm-hmm. You'll have to scroll down. It's been maybe a year ago, but there's a post there it has the probate ROI calculator, and it's just a really simple spreadsheet calculator I made that you can put in.
That. Yeah.
Okay. That'll kind of help.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I made that to kind of help people set their expectation and not get discouraged. It sounds like you're getting pretty close to being discouraged, but I mean, just like I said to the gentleman earlier, like you've got to learn to focus on the 98% or focus on the 2% conversion, not the 98% failure. And what you'll find over time, I mean, you might convert 2% now, but you'll gain momentum. Like once this becomes easier, it becomes fun. These are the best clients you'll ever have, I promise. And it gets easier and easier as time goes on, but you also get kind of a cumulative response to your marketing. So if you're marketing for 6 months, people are going to start calling back that you sent a letter to and forgot about 8 months ago, and they're going to be a come list me call. So hang in there.
Well, right now I'm not finding that it's not so much people that, I mean, I would say I'm looking at my list right now, and I would say out of the 80, I would say at least 30 of them have already been listed, or there's no real estate, or they're not selling, or it was already sold. So
and it's gonna be like that. So prepare yourself, because it's gonna be like that every month. And you know, people have realtors that they worked with for life. People had properties on the market before mom or dad went to the hospital. In my experience, probably a quarter of them have zero need for a real estate professional. A quarter are going to list with somebody else. You need to focus on, you know, you're going to compete for maybe another quarter, and the other quarter, you know, can use your service. But I mean, you got to focus on finding the ones that do need your help, and don't be discouraged because it's on MLS or it's going to a family member or they didn't own real estate. You're going to find more of those than you find of listings. But for most people, if you can convert at 1% to 2%, you're still going to exceed 1,500% return on investment. If you do the math, and that's kind of just use that to pep yourself up. And I'll say this: if you are getting really discouraged and you need a break, but you definitely want to keep the campaign running, you know, we've got your back. So we built a call center because this is common. I mean, the way you feel is not uncommon for some people. So we can do it for you. We can send your mail. We can basically completely automate your campaign. So the day your leads come, they hit the CRM. CRM fires an order for mail. Mail fires an order for calls, and we repeat that every 30 days. So all you have to do is the part you like and you're good at. Let us find the 2%, and then you impress them with your service.
What I'd like to do is I'd like to start marketing more to the attorneys, because I feel like having the, getting in early is what, is going to be the win. And so if you guys recommend something on your blog or something on the website that I need to focus on, because I feel like getting in early is I don't know, that's where I feel like I should be going.
Yep. So we're past the top of the hour. I'll give you two things. Yes, go to the blog and you'll see a tips from the trainer post on how to prospect attorneys. That's probably a 7 or 8 minute video. And then also I'd like you to go to the Facebook group and in the left-hand search bar type in attorney, and you're going to see probably 3 dozen of these calls and role play calls that will help you generate ideas and get prepared to go do the attorney prospecting.
All right, thank you so much. There may be a few of you, I cut the queue off about 20 minutes ago. If you tried to sign in after that, I can't see you. If we're leaving any questions unanswered, just send an email to support@alltheleads.com and somebody will get back to you personally. And going to be tough. We got a couple good candidates for win of the week. We'll let you know at the top of next week who the winner is. As always, guys, I really want to thank all of you for being here. We appreciate you showing up. We appreciate your participation. And I want to challenge you. Take one thing, one idea, one story that inspired you on this call. Go out and put it into practice. And please come back next Thursday and share your results with us. And come back next Wednesday for our role play call at 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much, guys. Make it a great week. We will talk to you soon.